Good morning. It's May 16th. It's 8:35 a.m. This is a special board meeting. And if you all remember from the last meeting, I said to enjoy effective meetings, whatever, so somebody in the staff, whatever, come up with something positive to experience. And the last time, Steve got the finger, everybody pointed at him, that Steve, but so now this time you could ask somebody, okay, that you want to give a positive experience about what's going on. And you shouldn't be looking this way. but
Paybacks or
okay, you can say whatever you wish. But.
Mr. Chairman, would you care to enlighten us on some positive things going on here at the
I'd love to. I'd love to. And I think one of the unique things here, I didn't have anything candid. I didn't think you would point at me, Steve. But now that you have, I tell you what, it's taken a mountain of energy on our staff the last 2.5, 3 years to focus on things that we've never done before, and to ask ourselves to do the things that they've done. And everybody here involved in that, whatever, it's like, it's just new ground. It's new ground, and every step of the way is new ground. And everything that I feel honored to be part of that process, that, to build the airport and take it where it is, and changing the port, and, the industrial park, and things that grow solar, and some of these things that are going on, and Max, and all those type of things, whatever. And so when I sit here and I think that this is, and I just rolled it the other day, is, and I've described that, we are changing the face of the North Country with our vision and things that we've done. And so to me, is being part of this whole process is an honor for me to just watch this happen. And when we walk away, we'll all look back and we'll say, we were part of that. So I think, that's my accolade here, to say what's positive, whatever. I know we have our struggles, I know we have our problems, but if you don't do anything, you don't have problems. And so you have to, that's part of the reactive things that you do to solve problems and also to create situations. And I think that's what we're doing. So I'm just proud to be part of this process. So thank you. So now wait a minute. Now I look at this, now it's my turn to go back. You may have to go. This may be just a two-way street.
No tap back.
Two-way street. Okay. Well, anyway, yes, sir.
I would love to expand on what you just said, if you don't mind.
I love to.
I just like to reiterate that, the things that the staff has done has just gone way, above, what we can really ask sometimes. So I'd like to commend everybody on the staff. But I also, Mr. Chairman, would like to commend you and my 3 other fellow board members, because it hasn't always been easy. When there's only 4 of us, and as of we're doing today, we're working around people's schedules to have special board meetings. And some people think that this is easy. It's not easy. It's tough work to get things accomplished that we want to get accomplished. So I'd like to thank Doug, Mona, and you for the hours and hours and hours of donated time you give to this board and to the community of Ogdensburg and St. Lawrence and New York State. So thank you.
You're welcome. Give it all. Well, I guess we'll move into the business part of our meeting. We have a special meeting, industrial, talk about grow solar.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there is a need for an executive session regarding the appointment of a corporation and negotiations involving real property. So at this time, I recommend an executive session for those reasons.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We now in executive session. Okay, thank you. I'll let the record show that we returned from executive session. It's now
9:45.
9:45, I think, clear on the clock. 9:45 a.m. And Ray, why don't you take us to the next part of our process here?
Mr. Chairman, the first item is industrial selection of site, grow solar, item A1. Grow Solar is in need of a site for the solar project. 2 sites were considered by Grow Solar, one off Champlain Street and the other off Wagner Road. Grow Solar recommended the Wagner Road site. It was discussed in the executive session. And based on that discussion, recommend approval of the Wagner Road site.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Any comments? I'll make a general comment, whatever it is, we started at one site, and to another site, to a third site, whatever. I guess we're fortunate that we have flexibility to other properties in our on our land, I guess, or properties that will accommodate this particular project. This is not really our primary first pick, but this one that will work for us and provide a savings over the next 20 years. Obviously, we would like to have it in the city of Ogdensburg, but that wasn't possible. And so this is the site that we will accommodate this project with. Clerk, call the roll, please. You will call each person's name. Clerk, call the roll. Yes, so you ask whoever. Start with me, so I'll help you out.
All right,
Mr.
Mr. Lamacha,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Ms. Breen,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
No, that's just the board.
Well,
Oh,
Board members only.
board members only.
Scratch.
But anyways, Mr. Lawrence, you want to sneak in a vote in?
We're curious here, Steve.
Yeah. I'll let the record show we have a temporary person here that is stepping up to do a teacher's role, which is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
So the next thing you would need to state is just that the motion carries.
Motion
Because-
carried.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Agenda item B2 is approval of a job description for the airport manager position. You recall one of the things that we've done, best practices.
Mine's not working.
Okay, we can just copy that because that one's got my notes all over.
Oh, okay.
One of the best practices that we do is we approve both the position and then the person. So that way there's no, years from now, there's no guess about what did the position entail back upon hiring. So at this point, I recommend the approval of the airport job description. Again, this was consistent with the description that was presented during the search process.
Is there flexibility in this job description? Because I know when you start with certain jobs, I know there's voids in here that we don't even know about, that somebody may have to do or not do, whatever.
There is, and it's right here under other such duties as
Yeah.
assigned.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's,
I look for the same thing, Mr.
yeah,
Chairman.
and I think that's
That'll
the
cover
key
us.
part, whatever.
This person, it said that other specific duties, the airport manager directs and supports the daily operations. He'll have direct contact with pilots when the plane's coming in? Or who does that? Is that his, part of his job, or?
We're an uncontrolled field, but on general aviation, if there are any issues there, yes.
Okay, but they come in on their own?
Mostly GA. You would,
Okay.
They would, there might be an individual thing over the radio that you might talk to a pilot,
Okay.
but generally, no.
No, okay, all right.
I would say this, in regards to this qualifications or responsibilities, and I know you research this wholeheartedly, whatever, and when you present this to the person that I know we've hired, you will go through this and whatever, there may be some things here that you need to clear with him, or he may add things to this to really help us understand?
Well, let me clarify this. You approved this exact version back in November when we started it.
Right,
This is a housekeeping matter at this point.
right, but I'm just saying to you, I'm just trying to,
So the candidate has seen this description.
If there are changes necessary, we'll bring them to the board at some
okay,
point.
well, I mean, to me, is, I know we've spent a lot of time on this to get the right person who does the right things, whatever, and her service as duties as assigned is a key element, and I think really some of the things that I guess what I'm saying to you is, if that person leaves in a couple of years, or whatever they do, or 3 years, whatever, that we really understand exactly what that person really does. Okay, so this may be fine-tuned in a way that, so in other words, the next job application, okay, or duties, whatever,
Could change.
would contain
Yes.
those type of things. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I would say, and I totally agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, obviously, the main thing is our candidate is seen these in advance,
Yeah,
so there's no surprises. So they see this
Yeah.
in advance when they're applying for the job and if taking the job based on this description. But I agree with you, what we'll have to do as we go forward, like you do with any business, is you review your job description, because as we grow, things could, hopefully will change.
Yeah.
So, I would say probably on an annual, between the airport manager and, our staff, senior staff will look at it, hey, we might
Yeah.
make some changes. But yeah, I agree with you.
And who knows, the person that gets hired might come in and a month down the road or 2 months might come back to us and say, listen, this needs to be changed, I need to be able to do this, or,
Right.
so, you know.
yeah, I mean, really to advise as much
Yeah.
as anything.
Right,
Yeah.
I agree.
Would you say your job description's changed since you started?
Most certainly has.
It's gotten easier, right?
It got bigger.
There's a
and
reason mine
It
is
got bigger and
seven
bigger,
pages
didn't
long.
it? It all got bigger and bigger, didn't it? Yeah, I think this is outstanding, I
Yeah.
really do. So,
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
clerk, call the roll, please.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Loeffler?
Yes.
Ms. Breen?
Yes.
Mr. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Lamaccia?
Yes. Passes. I think we're putting it together.
Okay, next would be the appointment of the individual, appointment of the airport manager. As you were through the selection process, we interviewed 3 candidates to fill the position after an independent search through a qualified outside consultant. Recommending, based on the interviews on May 10th, of the top 3 candidates, Patrick Sharrow become the airport manager effective June 6, 2016. Starting salary $80,000. No other changes from the offer as discussed, other than there is the $400 per month vehicle allowance, which was discussed. Mr. Sharrow does have a need to be off June 24th, 25th, and 26th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
One question, this person will be accumulate sick time, vacation time like everybody else does?
Per the established policy, yes.
Okay.
Just another question, the wait on this, is that time correct? Is it this June or in 2017?
Does say 17 up in the upper, but
Yeah.
16 in the lower.
Oh, yeah.
And the resolution says 16.
Good point.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, you planned the year ahead.
Thank you.
Yep, okay.
I think what's interesting to note here is, the process in your in new territory of and looking for what people do, and found out in our interviewing process we really learned a lot from 3 outstanding candidates that ADK brought us to the table, whatever, and each person was outstanding in their own way. So I thought we were really fortunate that we found candidates who were interested in our area, had the talent to do the things that we wanted to do, and take us in a different, take us where they needed to go. And so I think ADK did a great job of finding people that, whatever. So obviously, the candidates, had a tour the day before to see exactly what Ogdensburg is and what the airport is, and they were all enthused of what they saw. They saw the excitement. They saw what everything going on around. It wasn't just somebody sitting still and we're just talking about doing a project. It was being done. And so they were pretty excited about, all 3 were pretty excited to see what they saw. And, you take a person, all 3 of them came from experienced airports that saw this small little airport, was trying to do this project, okay, and say, hey, you know what, I want to be part of it. And so I think we found, the other 3, I think all 3 were outstanding. But to find this person here, I think we were very fortunate. who has some energy and talents to help us make this airport grow and become what it needs to be. And so I thank Wade and everybody who was involved in the process, the board, that we took time, that extra time to do the right thing and get a talented person on board. And that's what we did. So, clerk, call the roll, please.
Ms. Breen,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Lamarche.
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood.
Yes.
Next up is agenda item B3. This is approval of a mobile fueling stand, not a stair, but a stand. It's wrong on the link, right on the agenda item. So conceptually, let me take you through why we need this piece of equipment. You have the fuel in the tank. You have the truck take it over to the plane. You have the truck under the wing of the plane. Then you have the aircraft fueling nozzle 40 feet in the air. Well, you can't have a ladder there. You can't be standing on top of the truck. You need to have a stand where the fuel hose plugs into the stand. Operator walks up on top of the stand and then plugs the fuel hose from the stand into the plane. All at the low cost of $10,295 plus shipping.
Well, you know
I
what,
apologize.
there's
I
one
don't
of those
think
things, it's safety 101.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you can't play any games here. It's safety 101, whatever the cost is, it is what it is. And you know, this is what we're learning. This is what we're learning. Any used ones you want? No. You want the right, this is the right one.
This is for
right?
A320.
This is for an A320. It is in the best interest of the authority. It's needed because of the time constraint and also the need on the field. So therefore, we're recommending purchase of this from ProFlow Industries for $10,295 plus shipping costs.
This is brand new.
Yes.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
This is another thing, Fred, that we didn't obviously plan for, but
Well, we have a number in that says miscellaneous equipment.
and so we understand things are coming there that we don't really understand.
Right.
No, it's there, so.
Right. I think, I don't know that number that we have is sufficient for everything that they come along.
Probably not,
But
probably
it's,
not. And
there's a number,
There's some surprises.
and there's a budgetary number. This fits within it. The next one may not.
Any thoughts on this, Steve? Anything else? that
No,
you see coming?
at first when they said a fueling stand, I wasn't familiar with that term, but Wade and I kind of researched it, and it makes perfect sense the way Wade explained it. And it's really an engineering safety thing that you're not on a ladder or you're not lifting a large hose way above your head, either spilling stuff on you or everything. The work is right there, and the fact that it's one plane that we're used to, it'll get pretty routine, and that'd make the whole operation a lot safer.
You know, as you envision this project, you know, and I asked myself, here comes the fuel truck, here comes somebody who's pushing out the I don't want to say the approach thing or the passenger stairway, you know, and all these things have to be coordinated in such a way so fast, whatever it want to be. It's like, who's going to push this thing? You know, all this stuff is going to be quite complicated. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Lamarche.
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood.
Yes.
Ms. Breen,
Yes.
Thank you. That passes.
Agenda item C1 needs some explaining. This is relative to Parsons and cable inspection services.
Wait, excuse me, but
Yes.
Before.
before?
Before.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
In such a hurry to get out of the airport, I apologize for that. B4 is approval of a boarding and deplaning assistance agreement. As part of the CFR regulations, we need to have an agreement with the carrier in this case regarding the handling of disabled passengers. So pursuant to 14 CFR Part 382, 49 CFR Part 27, we need to have a boarding and deplaning assistance agreement with each airline that we deal with. And this was brought to our attention by Allegiant, and as a result, that's why it's here. This is one of these odd documents that really doesn't need board approval on, but I think it's important that you're aware of it, because there's no cost or anything with this, but it commits us to doing one other thing. And that's something that's usual and customary in an airport, but as we're all learning in this process, I thought it would be good best to disclose it.
So I'm glad you did, because if we have to have, say if there's 7 handicapped people in a wheelchair, and we gotta get them on, now, that's our responsibility, according to this. Now, where does the help come from doing that? Is that from your staff? Is that the airport manager?
It
That's-
depends on the time of the year. The airport manager will have to decide, but depending on the time of the year, we may have people to spare it. If it's a Saturday or Sunday, do you call them?
Well, that's what I'm,
Yes.
that's
I
my
don't know.
concern, it's gonna cost us money.
If it's, yeah.
Let's
I
talk
don't-
about other airports. I'll give you an example. Other airports, plane pulls in, it comes time to load the passengers. It's all hands on deck. There's 17 wheelchairs, there's people there from the airport, there's people there from the GSE, there's people there from management, all of which
Help.
get these folks on the plane. And of course, the other thing is all these people need to be trained too. You can't, you or I or anybody else can't just grab a wheelchair and push somebody onto the plane. So does that help answer your question?
Yeah, but I guess I guess to add to that is that's our responsibility. And on a Friday afternoon or a Friday night or Saturday, if we've got 8 people handicapped in a wheelchair, you know, is the airport manager on duty? Do we have to? Do they call Steve and say we're going to need one person or 2, you know, 2
I
people?
guess it'll be a process.
Yeah,
But that could happen, yeah.
Well, there again, I think I'd like, you know, we've got to have that plan. I know we're approving this and we have to, and that's fine. But I want to know. we better.
Maybe
The how is important.
We'll have some
Yeah,
information
yeah.
from
Yeah.
the new airport
I-
manager.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And in a perfect world, I mean, 8, you know, say you use the figure, you use 7 or 8 people come in that situation. Usually, when your ticketing process, there's a request that they're going to
Yes.
need that. I'm not saying that they're going to make that request,
Yeah.
but because so you're
Well,
right,
no.
Doug. We need. Hopefully, that's not going to be the situation that happens. The situation is we'll be notified in advance that there are going to be 8
Yes.
people in wheelchairs, so we
Yeah.
can make plans. But I totally agree with you. We can't have any surprises at any level, because we don't want anybody to think that they were not treated properly or, you know, were taken care of. So we got to make sure that we have that in place. I agree with that.
And I agree with what Steve just said. I think that should be one of the top priorities when
Right.
our
Yeah, if we're-
airport manager comes on
if
duty.
we're
Well,
gonna-
you just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm looking through here, and what the airport manager is, or operations person,
Operations person,
is
that's,
gonna
yeah,
figure that all out.
yeah,
Right.
And that's what their pay is all about.
Because if we commit to this, we have to be able to deliver.
deliver,
Absolutely.
absolutely,
Yes.
okay.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Any further questions, comments? Clerk call the roll, please.
Mr. Lecter,
Yes.
Mr. Loeffler,
Yes,
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Thanks for bringing it forward.
Oh, you're welcome. Again, just from a policy point of view, I felt it's important that we talk about that. The next up is Ogdensburg Prescott.
I got a question. Who seconded that again?
I did. I
Alright, thank
seconded
you,
it.
Mr. Reagan.
Yep, you're welcome.
Due to the timing, agenda item C1's appropriate. This is a little bit more rushed than what normally I'd like this to be, but need to have approval of cable inspection services. Steve, I'll explain this at a high level, and if I'm off base on anything, correct me here. There is, as part of the cable inspection, at the end of the day, when you're all done, you're going to wrap up the cable. And the cable wrap is what takes some time to order, and it has a substantial lead time associated with it. It's a company called DS Brown that is a sub of Parsons, and buried within this $27,000 is $18,000 of cable wrap that has that lead time associated with it. Based on the fact that this has a lead time associated with it, we need to get the cable wrap on order to complete the inspection services. Generally, we would have discussed this at the June meeting, but we want to try and get a little further ahead, so that's why we're bringing it to you today. I get that right, Steve?
Mhm. Yes.
Will this be in conjunction with the system we have out there now, the computer
No,
system?
this will be, mostly we're talking about cable. Yeah, it's side by side, but it's a different process.
Different process?
Yeah, and what we've always talked about is we've been in need of a cable inspection.
Mhm.
And Parsons was selected last year in August. We selected Parsons through an RFQ, and they did a preliminary scope that they presented to the board, and you kind of saw all the things there. We did budget for a cable inspection cost, but what I'm trying to do is get something started. Originally, we're talking $400,000 to $500,000. They came back with a price to do 3 spots, which is what this, with a contractor, not our forces,
Mhm.
it was close to $270,000. That, here's what I wanted to do. I said, what if our forces helped you out during that time, and we erected the scaffold? We'd also get a learning curve and know how to do it for another time. Not completely.
Mhm.
We would still need the engineering firm, but basically, the only thing they're going to be hiring with DS Brown is a technician to show us how to run the machine to wrap it.
Uh-huh.
But we'll gain the experience with our forces. So we reduce that approximately $100,000 by saying our guys are going to do it. So we'll still have the scaffold, and that scaffold will store that, and it'll be for another time. We've got to do 3 other locations, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after. But the idea would be we're starting on cable inspection, and it's something that we've talked about for a couple of years, and finally we're just trying to get something going here. And I think the learning curve that my guys can pick up is going to be of value to us. So we're reducing the cost down to the number you see there, and but our forces will be involved for probably a week to 10 days, and we will be fabricating. The cost to us will really be fabricating the scaffold.
Okay.
So that's where you see that, I think there's a 25.
25,000.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like a budget number. So I would anticipate that everything you see there will be, I'm not going to say not to exceed, but I think it's going to be lower, because if we do that, I'm sure that 25,000 will come down for that scaffold.
Is that budgeted? This
Uh,
budgeted?
There was a placeholder in there for
Yeah.
cable
Okay.
inspection.
All right.
And I think the minimum number we thought of, I think was 400,000.
Okay.
So we were just trying to maybe
Yeah, this
take
is a big deal.
a little better,
Yeah.
smaller bite, at least to get going,
Yeah.
rather than if he had come back and said it's 450,000, it's just a tough thing to
Mhm.
take on all at once.
Sure.
So we're at least getting started, and maybe over a longer period of time. And Parsons has been great. John Schmidt, you guys have all met him with the railroad.
Mhm.
John really takes our needs into account, and I kind of explained to him what I'm trying to do, and that and you see that email and everything, that's the result of him working with us to meet our needs, both financially and regulatory on the bridge.
Okay.
So I do want to clarify one thing. I made a change in the report here while we were talking. This is in line with our procurement policies, because we actually selected Parsons through a competitive process. The reason this is before you on the accelerated time frame is strictly due to the lead time associated with the cable wrapping materials.
Mhm.
So Steve, just, in my thought process, will they do all the inspection, or you said 3 different spots, and then we wrap, or do you do one and then they
We'll
wrap?
probably do one wrap,
and
and
then-
I don't know. He gave me a timeline for everything, and I have an estimate, and really I can take it from what they had for the contractor, and I can take those numbers if you need them.
It's me.
But, yeah, the idea we'd set it up, they go, unwrap it, inspect it, and then move on, and then there might be some ways where we can be ahead of them, and that's where the learning curves, where Parsons can say, well, take 2 guys and go over there and start on this, and hopefully if we have the same people next year or the year, they all know that things so it gets more efficient and less time spent doing that. But if we can get going and finding out what we really have out there, I know the other system that we have there, and Wade and I were talking the other day, it's been giving us, there's been really no activity, which is a good thing, but that's what you want to hear. Well, hopefully you go through 3 of these areas and they come back and say there's no issues. It'll set us all, everybody will be happier, even the state and everybody else will be that, but we don't know that yet.
Yep.
Will the results of this be in time to be included in our inspection results?
Yeah,
Or
there'll
will
be
they
2
be out of
separate
sync?
things. Hard to say, but they won't be, one will be Majeski and Masters and the other will be Parsons, so there'll be
True.
2 separate things,
Okay.
but they'll be similar because we'll be getting the biennial results. I believe that'll be scheduled for August to be done, and then we'll get those results by October. Maybe the same thing.
Thank you.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
I'd like to thank you, Steve, for instead of stepping back and just let the process go where it is and at least putting our people to work to look at this thing to save money and actually learn from this process. I think that's,
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking, I thought maybe it's too big for us, but John assured me that with his people and us, I wasn't volunteering for something that they, could cost them time and money. They said, I told them what we can do and what we're available to do, and they didn't see a problem with it at all. So that in coordination with them, it made the decision a lot easier.
so our staff will go up on the cables.
Yep. And then the
Is it
guys.
too late to apply for that job?
No, I go up. I
Go
go
ahead.
through the towers. I don't go up by the cables.
Well, I don't know who has the picture, and I'm trying to think of maybe this person shows the top of the tower looking down at the cable down through there. What an awesome picture it is. You don't realize how high up that is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so,
125 to the
yeah,
road deck and 225 to the
yeah.
water.
Have fun.
Ouch.
Did you go up there?
I go up the towers. I can't walk the cables. You're just too open. But in the towers, you go every 20 feet. There's a landing, and you can go straight up. And the spiders
Catch your
don't
breath?
bother me or anything.
The landing,
Yeah,
catch
if you
your
take
breath?
your time with that.
See if you want to make a decision if you want to go any further.
Great
You don't
view
want to
on
have
top.
fear of spiders over there.
No, right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Arachnophobia.
Clerk call the roll, please.
Mr. Lockwood?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the regular business.
Okay. Anything else somebody have?
Just on June 1st, I have a problem because they changed my mother and father's heart doctor appointment and test to that afternoon.
Okay.
So I would have to be gone by 11. I don't know. I'm sure we probably have a lot going on the 1st.
We'll look at it and
Okay.
we'll, I'll give you a commitment, we'll front load the most critical items first.
Yeah.
And Sam, when you and I sit down and review that, we'll.
Sure.
There will be a need later in the month for a special meeting, so that could lessen the load on the
Okay.
meeting on the first because of
Thank you.
the audit and I think something else later in the month.
Well, the other thing too is as we're hitting some of these, again, we've been meeting a lot lately, so we've been hopefully knocking off some of these things
Yeah.
as well too. So,
Wait for your planning to, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I'm gone from June 7th to June 11th.
June 7th to the 11th,
Yes.
thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for a special meeting, moving the thing along. And, anything else? Mr. Davis, you?
No, sir.
Okay. Motion adjourned.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, they are.
Somebody's opposed.